my dear ones. This is a timeless, near personal love and spirituality reading for whomever is guided to watch it with me, Queen of Cups Tarot. This reading in particular is sponsored by Frederica. If you also want to support my channel like Frederica, you can follow the donation link in the description box of this video. Take note that the reading can be in the reverse for some of you, and if you need more information or help after you listen to this reading, you can turn to the love reading for the season that is up, or you can check out the pick a card and near personal readings on the first page of my channel. Click the headline of each playlist to see all the videos that the playlist contains and get to my first channel page by clicking my Queen of Cups icon there. And I will start to shuffle your cards, and I use the Psychic Tarot of the Heart by Jan Holland. Okay, so it's exciting. When I open your deck here, I see joy and stability together with feeling alone. So for me, I'm getting the notion that you feel joy and stability in yourself at this point. You have done a lot of work inside yourself, so you have started to really come into this self-love. This is the Four of Wands. But in the world, you still feel very alienated. You don't feel like you belong just yet, but you have learned this with self-love, and you have made a home of your body, of your temple. And if you're not lazy, you can go there every day and meditate and stay in this now of your home. When you meditate, you can also remind yourself now, with a little bit longer apart. To just put yourself in the state of now. For me, anyway, it gives me this rush of universal love to be really in the now and to not be a little bit in the future, a little bit in the past, a little bit apart from my own soul. So, I call the divine with love and light. And here we have Ace of Pentacles together with Four of Wands. So it's some kind of new beginning here. That's a new step to take. So now you have reached this point. There's a lot more to be discovered. So in this world, because this is where we are, and we are, it's like passing through veil after veil after veil, learning new things. And now you're heading towards the next veil that's going to be lifted for you. So you will see something more that you didn't know before. First, you didn't know that, yeah, self-love, it sounded nice, but yeah, it's something you need to do, but it felt boring. But now you have, through a lot of challenges, be forced to love and strengthen yourself and stand your ground and kind of tear your life down to only the rock foundation is still left. And there's more to learn, okay? So, call the four archangels in the four corners of the world. And it seems like a gateway where you will find more about your shadow, more about the things you didn't know about yourself, the things you, for example, do in relationships that is automatic and not conscious action from your point of view. So you will see more of these things, your automatic reaction that will lead to an automatic response, and how you might even sabotage yourself when it comes to relationships and dreams and success. But it's not that you're going to continue to doing that. You're going to start seeing what it is that you're doing and start to become more conscious of what is going on. This is the Moon card, and be able to see, oh, see here, this is what I usually do, but now I'm so aware that I can actually choose to do this other thing instead. And if you do what you did, you get what you got. But if you do new things, so start to be a little bit on the edge of your comfort zone. Try new things, try new people, try new situations. Try to expose yourself in different ways. Try to take steps into the unknown to expand yourself at this point. So, 6 elements, maybe. I babble so much, I forget where I am. And it's about the heart chakra, so I'm definitely feeling like it's with relationships. And you feel alienated basically because you have a wound that make you have certain assumption about people and if they're going to be there for you or not. And this have colored your experience of the world, and it has also made you make these subconscious decisions because of the subconscious reactions that have actually sabotaged a lot of your relationships. And now it's time to be more brave. It's time to start to get closer to people. It's what I'm seeing. So, not just a few people, but a lot of people, a lot of different people, not just the relationships where you feel, oh, that person I can really trust. I feel it's time to build even new relationships and also refreshing old ones. So I want you to have love and creative success and to be able to walk on your highest path towards your highest destiny. Okay. So I will just tune in for a few seconds here. So this is the new bottom of the deck, and it's love. I said it. There's going to be more life in your relationship, more growth, more understanding, more coming together, more being able to see the other person's side, more them being able to see your side, mainly better communication I'm feeling, and more loyalty. And success and growth. This is the Eight of Wands. So it shows a lot of communication back and forth, really, listening to the other person, really asking a lot of questions about, okay, so is this how you mean? Is this what you want? Is this how you see things? And when you have figured them out, you can also answer, okay, so this is how I feel about this, and this is how I want, and they can ask you a lot of questions. So it's really about getting to the bottom of things and not being avoidant of the issues that needs to be resolved. And it might be people looking very hard and unreachable, or like they hate you, but it might just be a lot of wounded feelings. So if you scrape on the surface, you will be able to, if you communicate with them like this, there's openings to be found and better relationships to be made. So I will just put out your cards here. Okay, so this is the central issue, and it's new vitality. So before, you have probably pat yourself on the shoulder and said, well, I'm not like the other people here, so that's why I can't have good relationships. I'm a little bit like an alien. I don't understand these people. I don't understand their way. And you have been very much like just in these chakras, and you didn't really want to dip your toes in the human existence. But now it's time. It's time to realize that you are also a rainbow child of this earth. Once I had a meeting with a spirit guide that showed me a black pearl and said, this is the humanity, and it's so beautiful. It has so many feelings. Those feelings are getting in the way for them, but it's also what's making them separate them from a lot of other species in the universe. So that's why I love them so much. And this spirit guide was that have lived on the earth for a very past time. Okay, so someone that have helped humanity grow a lot. And here we have the High Priestess card here in the past, in the foundation to the situation that's right now. I'm actually going to read this card for you because I think it's the key to what you're going to experience shortly, what you will have to do to experience what the divine wants you to experience, more better relationships. So, see, hear, sense, quiet, intuition, knowing. Take a moment to quiet your mental chatter and listen. In relationships, it's important to pay attention to what the other person is really saying. Too often in conversations, you're already planning what you're going to say while the other person is still talking. You make assumptions about where the conversation is going and plan your part of the conversation accordingly, even working the conversation to a desired outcome. When this happens, you don't truly hear what the other person said, and in doing so, you weren't present for that person, neither for them and neither for yourself. Listening starts with becoming quiet, centered, and totally present. Listening involves many senses. Use your eyes to see the body language of the other person. Use your ears to hear not only the words spoken, but also the tone used to express them. Use your intuition to get a sense of what that person is really saying and feeling. Intuition often helps you hear what is not said as well as what is said. This is crucial to understand the person or the situation. Understanding is essential to improving the relationship or situation. Remember once again to center yourself and use all of your senses to understand what is actually being communicated. Listening is a gift. Give this gift to your partner, parents, children, friends, co-workers, pets, and anyone you meet. And most important, give this gift to yourself. Tune into your mind, body, and soul. Are you listening? What do you hear? So it's like Odin that threw one of his eyes in the wisdom well to his own emotions. So while talking with another person, while they are talking, you can listen to your own emotions. Okay, so how am I receiving this information? You can also take a pause before your answer and say, I will take a pause and I will feel into what you just said. And you feel what you feel, and you take a decision upon that. Okay, so thank you for letting me know that. And this is how I feel from my point of view. I like it, I don't like it, I feel like this, I feel like that. You can also ask a lot of questions to the other person. You can take a pause, take a minute, take a few seconds and say, okay, so I have these questions. So what do you really mean when you said that? And is this what you mean? And so on and so on. There's a lot of questions that can be asked. The question is the key to really understand the other person. And it's of course crucial that they answer truthfully as they know how to be truthful. But sometimes you can feel like, nah, that's not the case. They're saying, well, I didn't care so much for that, what happened. I felt like this. And you feel like, no, it's not really it. Then don't throw this in the face of the other person. You can say, okay, I feel like you might be hiding something from me a little bit, because from my point of view, it looked like you were scared and that you got nervous and that's why you did this thing. And the person might not understand this at all, because sometimes it's very hard to see one's own shadow, specifically if we have tried to hide it from ourselves and others. So very tried, because we don't like this part of ourselves, so we don't want to admit to it. So even if they know you're right, and they might get freakishly scared in that moment and say, no, you're wrong, that's totally wrong, it's not what happened. And you need to accept that they are not at that point where they can admit to their shadow just yet. And don't throw it in their face that you are unable to see your own shadow. Why they have created a shadow from the first place, it's usually a trauma. So you don't want to play around with people's traumas. Instead, you say, okay, so I hear you. This is what you felt, and this is the decision you made from this. Okay, so but this is how I feel, and I feel that we need to have this kind of approach. And then the other person can ask question about that and you argue about that. But it's very crucial to give each other time. It's very crucial to listen to what the other person say and take it that that's their truth today. That's the truth they want to reveal to either you or to themselves. You have to accept that. But also keep this other vision that you had, that something is going on there. So you are wise enough to be able to hold these two visions and know that this is the thing that the person wanted me to know, and this is what I feel that I know. But don't get don't take it personal that a person is maybe lying a little bit, because usually they're also lying to themselves. So it's not personal, and you can deal with this by supporting yourself and believing in what you see and believing in what you like, your own feelings about the situation, but also hold that this is the other person's, how they saw it, and you need to honor that too. And here we have 9 of Cups, dreams coming true. So I think this is a really magical point in your life and in your relationships, where you can really start to become a master of humanistic energies, as love, compassion, being able to listen, and therefore you have the magic skill at this point to create really beautiful relationships where you can be like rock solid to another person and really let them express themselves in a way that will be very healthy for your relationship. So it's like you're holding them like this bird here and helping them to fly, and in the same time helping you yourself to understand them better, and then they're going to do the same to you, because we usually learn very quickly from each other what works, when things works, when they see, okay, damn, that girl is chill here. She usually blow up in my face right about now, and now she's asking all these questions. Interesting. So the person will jump on the train with you eventually, either sooner or later, and start to do that too when they see, oh, this is working. And here we have the Healing Begins card. So people are scared. That's why communication fail, because people get scared, they withdraw, they draw in their tentacles like this when someone is saying something, and they say, okay, so then we shouldn't be together, or they might even whitewash what the other person said and said, no, they really didn't mean that. They probably meant that they wanted to stay with me forever, when they really said that they're keeping their eye up if there's a better option. But I don't want to hear that. But here we're starting to take away this next veil, the thing we have sheltered ourselves with a little bit from the truth, and we start to honor it, and we start to have this brave heart chakra growing on us, so that we can also allow and accept the other person to be who they are. They don't have to follow our moral code or live accordingly with our standards. You might be with a person that wants to have polyamorous relationships, and you want to have monogamous relationships. Don't judge them just because they don't want the same. Just accept, we don't want the same. So do I want to be in a relationship with a person that want to have a polyamorous relationship? Is that for me? No. So then I need to take very brave decisions from the truth that I have learned. So it's compassion. It's like live and let live. Let the other person be who they are and really listen. Okay, and we have also 6 of Cups, which is simply love. So this is going to heal a lot of your childhood wounds doing like this, because it's going to sort things out. This truthful communication is going to put things straight. And every time you're able to have this kind of fruitful communication with a person, you will heal. You will heal both them and yourself, your childhood wounds. It's like you're getting a second chance to do something all over and do it better this time. So it's very beautiful. It's very supportive. It's going to help you a lot. And here we have the base chakra. So we have listen, base chakra, and simply love. So it shows me that you have had problems with security and anchor yourself in the world, because you never felt really welcomed, and you never learned the skill for how to communicate and act together with other people. So you just learn different survival skills, how to deal with the disaster when it has already happened, or how to deal with very radical and difficult people without really, really changing the situation, but rather deal with, okay, this is how it is, and I need to be quiet, I need to tiptoe, now I need to give them advice, now I need to say, okay, so you don't have to listen to it, you can do whatever you wanted, so there won't be a conflict. So I feel most of you have been very insecure as children and not felt really listened to or truly respected. So you have never learned to voice yourself and never felt enough in authority to ask questions. It was more like take whatever they say as truth and run with it and don't argue about it. And if you argue about it, there will be hell to pay. So it's a little bit what I'm feeling. But this is not going to happen anymore. You are grown up now. And if people are acting immature, of course you don't have to deal with that. But you don't have to act immature. You can act very grounded, very self-loving. You can listen. You can be very wise in the situation. You don't have to be triggered by the situation. You can calm yourself down. Having your own back. You have really built this foundation for you now where you are your own parent. You are having your back. You believe in you. You believe that you are right. To the point where you feel like, the other person is right. Now I understand. And you say, okay, so I understand now. So you were right. I was wrong. I'm happy we were able to sort that out. So it doesn't have to be, I need to win over the other person. It's not like that. It's I don't understand them until I do understand them. And I feel like I'm right until I see, well, I wasn't. Or the other person sees, they were right. Okay, so yeah, you were right. And it's not a contest. It's only about communication and straightening out the entangled beliefs that we might have and be able to have a clear discussion and see what's most logic in the situation and go with that as your solution. So if one person says, well, I only want to have red cars, and you say, but this blue one, it is less gas mileage, it has it's not as expensive with the gas, it has better paint, it's younger, and it's better priced. And the other person says, well, I only want to have red cars. You can argue about this until it's logic to choose the blue car because it's going to be a better, because you take the discussion from many different angles. Okay, so do you want to pay more gas just because it's a red car? Do you want to have to pay more service fees because the car is older just because it's red? Okay, so, and we can ask, okay, so what is it about red cars? Okay, it makes me feel safe, it makes me feel like home. Okay, so is there any other way we can make you feel home? So really talk about people's fears and reassure them and see that tell them that you're listening and you're hearing them, and you're not going to run just right over them just because you're right. Okay. And here we have helpless and hopeless, and it's the 8 of Swords, and it comes with the 6 of Swords and dreams coming through here. So what I'm feeling with these cards here is that there's going to be moments where you are very scared and you feel like it's very hard to come true to another person, and also to know who's right and who's wrong in these darn situations. Well, really neither is right and neither is wrong. It's just different ways of seeing things. And sometimes we need to be very practical with situations because we don't want bad consequences. But sometimes we can take a lot of consideration to people having certain fears in a situation where they really, from your point of view, they don't need to be fearful, but they are. So when you can communicate with them, okay, so how do you feel right now? Why do you get so crippled in this situation? And they can say, I don't know. But try to move further with that and say, okay, what is it that you don't know? I don't know why I'm acting like this. Okay, so we can take a rest with that. We don't know why you're acting like this, but what are you feeling when you're acting like this? And they can say, well, I feel like I want to run away. Okay, so what is it that you want to run away from? I want to run away from this argument. Why is this argument scaring you so much that you need to run away? So we can help the person even if they can't help themselves. They are like deer in a headlight here. And one of you need to be more brave to actually put a little bit effort into sorting this out. But some relationship will be rather hopeless. I'm afraid not all people have come to the same state as you are in, and they might not be ready to have these open communications. But you can work with it as much as it's possible and not be so restless that you need to solve it all at once. Some things you need to leave up to God to solve. Okay, and here we have opportunity beacons. So it seems like this moment where you are in right now, there's people in relationship to you that there might be messy relationships and difficult relationships with a difficult past. But you have this certain chance now to really solve issues that you have been dragging along for maybe your whole life. So this is a great opportunity to actually deal with these impossible emotions that we have, and the logic emotions that we have, because sometimes we want to hide our emotions because we don't feel that they are logic. So we don't want to even tell another person that we feel like we feel. But here in this room here, when you are going to have this clear communication, you're going to have to say how you feel. You can say, okay, I know it's radical, but this is how I feel. And the other person, if they love you, they need to take consideration to this, that, okay, so this person sees danger where from my point of view there's no danger, but I need to accept their way of viewing things. So how can we deal with their fear? Some people can be fearful of so many things. A lot of animals, for example, you can be scared of wasps, birds, spiders. Wasps is usually you're scared of conflict. Spiders, you're scared of your own destiny. So God tell you have to go down and do this, and you said, oh, I don't want to do that. And all your life when you see a spider, you are reminded of what you were supposed to go down and do, and you get scared. And with birds, you're scared of having this overview. Or if you're scared of hens, you might be scared of the giving part of a relationship. You don't want to give because you don't want to be vulnerable. So it's very interesting with these fears. They are always pointing to some kind of trauma. It's usually the key to the issue. So if you go straight for the issue and deal with that and not hide it underneath the carpet because it's so silly, that's when you have a solution. But usually it's hard. You don't want to deal with it. You want to avoid it. But this is an opportunity to do this. This is the Four of Cups. Usually we avoid when God is coming with, this is your offer. This is what you are supposed to deal with in this life. And this will be good for you. And you say, no, I don't want it. I don't want to do that. But this is an opportunity for new vitality and breaking through veils and healing the past and learning to be wise and communicative, learning to create your life, and also teaching other people how to make a foundation for themselves, that they don't have to hang in suspense and being all lost. They can actually anchor themselves like you have learned to. Even if it's hard to help someone else, it's very necessary. If we want to have relationship, we can't just clear our own path and not care for anyone else. Then we can't complain that we are all alone in the world either. We need to reach out a hand to people and help them as well. And here we have Seek, and it's the Hermit card. So I will actually read this card for you because there is the birds. That some of you will be afraid of, or maybe you have a partner being scared of birds. Okay, so quest. Yes, there's a quest, an opportunity of new vitality, a quest that God sent you down to do, but you got so scared that you got scared of spiders. So understand, retreat, solitude, introspection, guidance. Sometimes individuals become so engrossed in a relationship or in wanting a relationship that all perspective is lost. The relationship becomes their world and they lose sight of themselves. This card suggests that now is the time to take a step back, either from a relationship or from the desire for one, and go on an internal quest to rediscover yourself. One of my favorite saying is, there can't be a we until there's a me. If this resonates with you, it's time to have a dialogue with your higher self and your guides about who you are and what you really need in life. You may be surprised by the answers. This is also a good time to physically retreat from your busy life and relationships. Attending a spiritual retreat would be optimal. However, simply finding some time for solitude and introspection can be just as beneficial. Take a walk in nature, quiet your mind, and listen for messages from the birds and trees. Give yourself the gift, or spiders, or wasps. Give yourself the gift of daily 5-minute meditation. Pull a card from the deck and sit with the card's image, seeking its deeper meaning for you about the role relationships play in your life. You may feel that you need assistance in your quest for greater understanding regarding what you need in a relationship, or even how to handle a specific relationship. Find a guide or mentor who is knowledgeable in matters of the heart and converse with that person. Affirmation: I take time for solitude and introspection. So this is actually your foundation, is what I'm feeling, that you don't have to be agitated in a relationship because you have yourself now. And if the relationship fails, there is still you. And it's also talking about the necessity to sometimes take pause from these very intense communications and have some space in between. Because when I teach, for example, my young horses to be ridden, I usually do one thing, one major thing for 1 week. For example, I teach them to walk with a saddle on their back. Then I give them 2 weeks of respite. And during those 2 weeks, this horse will have connected the dots in their brain, and they are now like any other ridden horse when it comes to having the saddle on their back. They will be totally cool with it because they have processed it and worked it through. It doesn't mean that you have to take 2 weeks from a relationship, but for example, if there has come up something in the discussions, you might say, okay, so there have come up a lot of important things here. We don't seem to see eye to eye in how our relationship is going to proceed. And I have understand your point of view. I hope you have been able to understand my point of view. But now I need a few days to make a decision. So this is your go-to thing, to be able to be with yourself and ask for answers, and be brave enough to also be able to take the most difficult decisions. That, okay, we don't seem to have the same idea about our common future, so maybe we should take a longer break and see if this is the decision we want to make, if we need to be apart. But it can also be having a dramatic encounter with a family member and then letting time pass before you meet them again, even if you solved a lot of things then. So let just time pass. So when you come together again, both will have healed a lot of stuff and kind of put things straight inside of themselves that will make less and less problems to actually be solved between you two. Because those moments when you are together with yourself, you're also putting a lot of things where they are supposed to be. It's like you're sorting things out. If you have to choose, for example, between 2 things, it's very good to take a vacation to be away from both those things, because then you will more easily be able to take a decision. But this is not only about this, having to distance yourself from the situation to see it clearer. It's also about actually, frankly, being able to be alone, because being able to be alone means you can't be kidnapped by a person's what they have been saying, because some people will try to manipulate you. For example, saying, okay, so I want this, because they want to freak you out so that you will be a pawn to them in the relationship, like they can play you like a marionette like this. And if you don't allow for that, you take them for their words. So they said that they don't want a committed love relationship, and you want that, and you take these 2 days or 2 weeks or 4 days or whatever, and you feel like, no, I don't want to be in a relationship where someone can finally come one day and say, hey, I'm together with Susan now, or Bill. No, I don't want that. And if that's what they really mean, I don't want to have this type of relationship with them. And then you need to go and say that, and you need to be able to be on your own. So we have 9-9 here, healing this by basically becoming a grown, independent individual that can stand on your own two legs also when the shit hit the fan. So that's making you more able to see the truth and hear the truth and nothing but the truth. So you don't have to close your ears or your eyes or your mouth. You can start to speak freely and also listen freely to what the other person is saying, and then taking the consequences of what's being heard, what's being said, what's being decided, and make your own decisions. Okay, so now the sun is sneaking in and making a mess of my reading, but I hope this helped, and I want to thank you so much for watching, and I really hope it was helpful. And if you want to support my channel so you can see more content like this, you can do so not only by watching, which is, I'm totally grateful for you just watching, but also by commenting, liking, subscribing, and sharing my videos. You can also donate to my channel through the link in the description box, or you can make Google donate to my channel by clicking my ads or watch them for 30 seconds or to the end of the ad, whichever comes first. That is keeping my humble revenue up. So more readings like this will come out on this channel. And I want to thank you so much in advance, and I'm grateful for my wonderful and loving, supporting viewers. Your love means more than anything. And until next time, I want you to stay blessed and take really good care about yourself and your loved ones. Okay, bye-bye.